14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
All right, here we go. Episode 62 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. Willimantic Today Facebook, Spectrum 192. And, of course, if you miss any of the shows that are on the radio, you can always spend some quality time at WILI.com. You'll see not just Hometown Threads up there, but all our 5 o'clock shows, the Wayno shows, WILI.com. The Hometown Threads podcast is brought to you by Tripoli Pro Clean. And the show here on WILI is brought to you, of course, by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, with 3 great local locations. Of course, across the street from the radio station, 679 Main Street, Willimantic. West Main Street, Willimantic, down by in the Gateway Commons. That's my wife is the manager there. And Route 195 in Mansfield, Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you wouldn't mind moving that ear prop or whatever, it's, and say hello to the fine folks.
Hello.
Here we go, episode 62 of Hometown Threads, and of course it runs on the radio every Tuesday at 5:05 on WILI. You can watch it numerous places. As I mentioned, Willimantic Today on Facebook, Spectrum 192, and the WILI Radio YouTube channel. If you want to look up WILI on YouTube, we have, again, all our shows up there, WILI Radio on YouTube. Let's welcome in our guest for episode 62. I can't believe we have another DeVivo here, and I say another DeVivo because we've had Mayor Tom in, we've had Tim in, owner of the Wyndham Golf Course, but I can't believe we have John. We finally have John DeVivo in here. Hello, John.
Keith, it's very good to see you on the radio today. I do listen to 93.5 on the radio.
93.5.
I mean 95.3. Sorry.
You're fired. Leave.
I'm fired. But yes, I am a loyal listener to the radio station.
Yes, you are.
For many, many years. And
you're also a big fan of Hometown Threads. I always get a text. John, who I was it's great to have a friend here. We have it's like a family affair. We have so many friends and family in here, and of course the DeVivo family represented again. But John is so complimentary, and so, as he just said, he's a big fan of WILI. He's always up on what we're doing, and I always get from time to time a lot of nice texts from you after a Hometown Threads episode saying I really enjoyed the show. So I appreciate that.
Well, you're very welcome. I know it's hard to come up with all these guests and have people to talk about their business and what they do, and I'm always impressed at you. I always think you just make up a number. Like you said, this is number 62.
Yeah, you said that before.
And I've done that. I'm like, oh, you're just using the same number. Because I find that funny. But no, Keith, I'm very happy that you had me on.
Now, when I asked you to come on, John, you said something that kind of surprised me. And you're totally wrong on this. You said, oh, I'm the DeVivo nobody knows about. I find that totally untrue. A lot of people know you. You're very involved in the community, especially you and I are very tied into the Knights of Columbus, Council 14. In fact, that's how you and I have become closer over the past, 5-7 years?
Yes.
Because my wife spoke to you, and you came down, and it wasn't my father, God bless him. It was John DeVivo. It spoke to me in the lobby of the radio station about 7 years ago, and said, how would you think about joining the Knights of Columbus?
Well, that's very true, and I remember coming to see you. For those of you who are not aware of what the Knights of Columbus is, it's a male organization in the Roman Catholic Church. It was founded by Father McGivney down in New Haven 150 years ago. We are fortunate in Wyndham that we are Council 14. We were founded about 4 years after the main group was founded. And the object of the Knights is to help the parish in things that it would not normally have, and to keep, I like to say, keeps the men busy. But we get to do some interesting things. We have a breakfast once a month.
Second Sunday of the month.
We're not advertising, but if you would like to show up, it's an inexpensive breakfast. We also do a coat drive in Thanksgiving. We do food drives. We give money away in scholarships to local students, and we're having a spelling bee for the Catholic schools.
That's coming up in May 4th, I think.
May 4th, yeah. It's coming up soon. It's around the first week of May, second week. We do a basketball free throw, and there's a soccer contest. There's some other things that we do for children of the parish.
And John, you are very responsible for, and I had moved back here to the area in 2016. I grew up and was raised here just like yourself. But correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you and I have spoke about this. You're pretty responsible for kind of getting the council back on track. Because, let's face it, for years, the Knights of Columbus Council 14 here in Willimantic was only known for the bar. Can you get into that a little?
Well, a lot of people are aware that the Knights of Columbus was on Club Road, 14 Club Road. It's the building where Click is now. One of the issues is that over the years, as the membership changed, the older members held on to this bar. And when I came back from overseas and I moved back into town, one of the things I wanted to join the Knights, and I went there, and it was just a bar. I said, I don't want to join a bar. I want to join a group of men who are doing something for the parish. So I spoke to a few of them and realized shortly that they were running out of money. So it was going to be just a matter of time. And the building was foreclosed on and sold. And hence we were able to get some money out of it. We helped them sell it to Click. And it's got a great use now. Click is, if you've never been there, it's a great organization. It helps our community. If you're looking to start a business with cooking or something, that's a place to go.
So I couldn't have worked out any better the way who we sold it to. Yeah.
About who we sold it. And what we did as a group is we moved back into the church. We had a church hall. We didn't need this space. We're not a bar. We're there to help people. And what we found is it increased our membership. Some of the old timers who were big time, they like to have a drink or two. There's nothing against. I'm not against someone having a drink, but at the same time, that's not my only reason for being here. And so we pushed to help Father Larry. He has a big job on his hands to take 3 parishes and make them into one.
Which would be St. Mary's, St. Joseph's, and Sagrada Corazon.
Corazon is now called Corpus Christi Catholic Community of Windham. And that kind of all started around 2010. So as we left that building and we moved into our area, into the church, he said, hey, let's get a group of people together. You guys believe in this mission. You're trying to do some good things. We do help Father Larry on the Corpus Christi feast, which I believe is May 31st. I think
we do an outdoor mass.
And we help.
Which is right on Gilson Square usually, and there's a procession and all that.
And we help out with that, with parking and with whatever. If Father asks us to do something, we're willing to say yes to pretty much anything.
Well, I can't thank you enough for not only asking me back in 2017 to become a knight here in Council 14, but what you did in really getting the ball moving as far as getting Council 14 back on track. And I'm sure I'm speaking for many of the knights, and it's such a great bunch of guys that we're just so lucky to have in our lives. And I look forward to the breakfast once a month, the meetings. And I was Grand Knight for 4 years. And that's, again,
yes, you were.
Big thanks to you for giving me the opportunity to lean on you and learn from you. So John DeVivo is with us, episode 62 of Hometown Threads on WILI, brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. So along with being an active member of the Knights and within the parish community, what do you do now? Because you're a member, you're obviously the DeVivo family. For years, you're at Willie Ways. What was your role at Willie Ways, by the way? I
was in human resources and truck safety.
Okay. And I know I had Tom and Tim in here. What year did you guys sell again? It was not too long
22.
ago. Okay.
21, I believe.
Okay. So you sell the business. We know what Tom and Tim are doing now. What was you stayed on with them for a while, Casella, right? Didn't you? Or
yes, and then we parted ways, and I'm now working for a company called Right Height, which does warehouse loading dock doors and dock levelers.
And where's that?
It's based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm the regional manager for HR from Maine down to Baltimore into Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Lancaster,
as you tell me to say it.
I live down there. We talk about this all the time.
And I do the Michigan area, and I've been given a region down in Florida up to Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, you're on the road a lot now too, right?
I'm on the road a lot. It's a good role for me. I'm enjoying it. My wife and I are older. Our children are in college, so it's a different. We don't have to be home and with them at every minute of the day.
Tell us all about the family, Monica and the children. Go ahead.
I'll start with the youngest. My daughter, Mary Jasmine, is a sophomore at UConn. She's studying journalism. My son, James, graduated from Eastern last year with public health.
Also a
as
knight.
a degree. He's a knight, and he is thinking of becoming a nurse. He's going to try to go to Three Rivers in the fall. And my wife, Monica, and I do not mean this in any derogatory, but she is at home, and that's
Well, she was a long time nurse, right?
She was a nurse, and she's done. When we lived overseas, she was a teacher, but she's at home, and that she's the glue that keeps us together. So April in Windham is Windham Reads Month. If you're up and down Main Street, you'll see some yellow banners that say Windham Reads. That was something that my mother started in 2004 or 5.
Your parents are household names here, let me tell you.
And when Mary Lou started working on it, she was at a public, at a Board of Ed meeting, and the reading scores were bragging how we were at, geez, we did so well, we've improved. Well, they were improved, I don't know the exact number back then, but it was in the low 50s. So what she said is they were like, we went from 51% to 53%. Well, that's kids now who are on grade level. And what she said is, that means there's 46 or 45% of the children who can't read on grade level.
Wow.
She was a big education proponent, and she said, look, how do we get kids to read? So what she did is she started Windham Reads. April became Windham Reads Month.
And she's also the inspiration for Charlie Wynn, Books on Parade, every Friday morning at 9:50 on WILO.
And that's when we started doing that. We started the reading of the books every week on the radio. She started in the summer when they do the library will do an outreach and they go to the parks and they bring children things to read. Some of the things could be a comic book, could be a magazine, world. It doesn't matter what you read, it's that you read.
And she started this in 2000? Somewhere around there?
Somewhere around there, because she went to, I think it was Gail Zeba she worked in the children's department, and she just said, what can we do? And Gail brought up this interesting fact. Hey, we go out to Lauder Park, and we bring people their lunches, and they eat lunch, and they just kind of sit around. She said, what if we got them some books to read, or magazines, comics? That was one of the things that my mother always stressed. I don't care what you read, just read. So we started, after she passed, my brothers and my two sisters, we got together, and we said, look, we have to fund this so it will continue long after our mother is around.
Wow.
And it's not a lot of money. It's only $400 or $500 a year that we put into the library so they can run this little project.
This is beautiful.
In the summertime.
You're carrying on your mother's legacy. That's awesome.
We are. We're trying hard.
Now,
So
you talked about Mom. How about your dad? What can you say? I'm sure you guys carry on something that has to do with your dad, right? Both your parents played such a huge role in this area. I mean,
well, I would have to say that would be more Tom, because
Okay.
Tom was my father was a politician, and
well, you're in politics in Mansfield, right?
I'm in politics in Mansfield. That is correct. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Commission, but I was also in Windham politics. I was on the Board of Assessment Appeals, long time ago, with Mr. Griffin. Now, I think my father, that was his big thing, was politics. You're here in America, become an American and do something. Don't complain about politics. Vote and get out and hit the street.
I hear you say those same words. In fact, we were together on Sunday at the breakfast, and we were talking to somebody about that, and you said exactly, to that person what your father would say. Don't, if you want to, use your voice, go vote.
Go vote. And we have all these people come to America for freedom. The least we can do is, it's our right in our obligation to vote, and so we do. And that's really, we work hard to get people. It isn't that hard to take out 10 minutes and go, vote on what you think. And if you vote, then you actually kind of can have a say in what you want. If you don't like what they're doing,
Exactly.
you can vote those guys out. If you like what they're doing,
So it was not too long ago you got involved with politics in Mansfield, right? Because I want to say it was over the past 5 years, right? Or have you been doing it for a while?
I moved from Wyndham to Mansfield in 2017. I ran for office in 2018.
Okay.
So I've been on the board. I think it was 19 as a year because of the way the 4-year calendar ran. I was an alternate on the planning and zoning. I went to all the meetings. Eventually, people move on, and I ran for a 6-year term, which I'm currently serving. To be honest, I don't know how long I have. You just know you go to the meetings, and eventually they'll have to run again. So, but it isn't hard. It's just saying I would like to do this, and they're going to go out and do it and knock on doors. Very similar to the Knights, saying, "Hey, we're going to start something. We're going to knock it. We're going to just start do something." And that goes back to Wyndham Reeds, right? If you want to get something done, you just have to start. No one's going to give you permission to help them. That's what you're doing.
Exactly.
And I think that you've seen me in action at like the basketball free throw. Any child who's there, throw the basket. Try. What's the worst thing you do is not make the basket. There's a quote, and I know you're going to tell me because you're a sports guy. You miss every shot that you don't make. Is that what you?
Something like that.
Something like that. But that's But if you don't try, you're not going to win. So, try.
We got another DeVivo in here on Hometown Threads. That's three down, like two to go. I guess we got to eventually get Bridget and Gina in here.
Gina is active. She's working with the women's shelter across from St.
HFHS, right? Oh.
HS,
Holy Family Home and Shelter.
Home and Shelter.
HFHS, right.
You're very quick at those acronyms. I'm not. But she's working on that. They could use some help.
Why don't you plug that if you want to plug that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know. You have to, whatever you know about it.
What an easy thing to help out with. They're looking for volunteers to do small things. Maybe on a Saturday, I know my sister's working this Saturday to help clean out the place where they have the pantry.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting food in, so they have to, you rotate the food. You put the older food in front, and you put the newer food in the back, so it can be eaten on a schedule. That's not a lot of work, but they need it's something that needs to be done to help. If you're a family and you're in trouble, that's where you go. That's where you can take your family.
You told a great story again the other day when I saw you at the Knights breakfast about your mom and the Covenant Soup Kitchen and how that all came about. I can't remember exactly what you said, but do you remember how you're bringing up the church and how I'm not saying your mom didn't start the Covenant Soup Kitchen.
No, she didn't.
No.
She was. We were part of it. We were there along with your parents. I think when you think back into the mid '80s, Willimantic was booming.
Tell us about you growing up around here.
I grew up on North Street, but you had the thread mill was here. American Thread. We had our own Little League. We had 6 or 8 teams. And then in the 1980s, I believe that's when they started WAME, the Wyndham Area Interfaith Ministry.
Yeah, which is right down the street.
Right down the street here. And we said, we don't need 20 people having soup kitchens. We just need one soup kitchen. So I believe it was St. Paul's that decided to do that. But I can't speak for how it all came about, but I know that my mother would work there. She took us down there.
That's what you were telling me.
And we would do service on a Saturday. I think we've cleaned shelves in the pantry. That was many, many years ago. And that's just part of, once again, the community needed somebody to do the work. So if you can give give. It's not that hard.
And you could totally, as long as the Rices and DeVivos have known each other, and it's been we go way back, both families, you could really see how your parents molded all of you into wonderful humans. Now, we have a couple minutes left. I have a couple quick questions. If you were to explain I know you did this towards the top of the show, but right now, are there any young gentlemen listening or that are intrigued or maybe considering joining the Knights? I know you said it earlier. How can we bring more people into our council, more gentlemen or more men into our council?
If you're interested in service and you're in the Roman Catholic Church, go and it's in our weekly bulletin. We advertise every week. It's how you can join. You go to kofc.org and you just join now. It's very simple. I would tell you, even if you're not, and this is probably a plug for other religions, whether you're a Jewish gentleman or a Muslim or Indian, like a Sikh or something, they all have men's groups. We're all doing the same thing. We want to help the less fortunate, the widow, the poor, the orphans, and get involved. It's not just me. It could be you. It could be I'm thinking of Matt Rupar, a little service he does. He runs these shows every week. He makes sure that they're broadcast so people can talk. And the more you can get out there, the better.
It really is. And I can thank John, my wife, for directing me to John, or John coming to me and asking me to be on the Knights, because if you're a guy watching this and you'd like to, it's just we have a great bunch of guys that do wonderful things for the parish community. And it's become such a great tight-knit fraternity. And again, thank you for that. Now, as we wrap things up, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to or thank during this great journey you've been on your whole life? John DeVivo.
Wow, that's a really loaded question there. I'd just like to thank my family, obviously, and I think we grew up in a town. The town of Windham is a great town, and we are here. We might have our problems and our warts, but so what? That's that's life, and you can make it better by instead of cursing the darkness, go out there and do something. I'll use that. There's the women who clean up at the parks once a week. They have the trash mobs. That'll be starting up again soon. That's a Friday afternoon for maybe a half an hour. You just go out and pick up some trash. You go to the Bridge of Flowers. We have some very unique attractions here that are great. You can walk up over the footbridge and then down the Bridge of Flowers, and you get to see a lot of Windham.
That's a hidden gem over there, by the way.
It is a hidden gem, which nobody talks about. But the Garden Club that does a great job. Or you go down to High Street, in between High and the highway, actually. There's that on the left-hand side. They've got that big center. Wow. That's Jean Dismay and her group. There's a gentleman there. He's there every day. You see him weeding and cutting and doing everything. Very interesting. This
man is all about giving back. That's why he inspired me to join the Knights, and I'm so glad he came by the station that day. John DeVivo, one of the many DeVivos, our third DeVivo we've had on Hometown Threads. And that'll do it for episode 62. Thank you again, John. John's got a call. Come and see. We know we have to end this. Thank you to J. Matt Rupar, Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, Tripoli Pro Clean Services for sponsoring the podcast. And that'll do it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching Hometown Threads, 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. And the words of the great Roddy McCumber.
Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice, or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.